Greetings, my name is Rick Newell. I'm the Executive Director and founder of the Must Mentoring Program. Welcome to our very first fundraiser. This is a fundraiser. We don't want to be shy about that. We will ask for money at the end. We are trying to navigate COVID like everyone else. The virus has put about $100,000 hole in our budget. We were expecting 2 grants that would total about $100,000, and those were both paused. And we found out yesterday that one of them's probably gone forever. So we, like a lot of organizations, have a lot of work to do, and we would love your help to get there. A couple housekeeping things. I will probably cry at some point doing this. I am my father's son, and we are both weepers. But I am also passionate about what we do. So just a word of warning, that may happen. And number 2, if you could hit the subscribe button, it's the red button down below so you can keep track of who we are and what we do, keep tabs on us. And then on the right-hand side, my right-hand side, your left-hand side, you have our program. That's a way for you to keep track of how we're advancing in our show today, so you can keep track of that. And then I want to be aware that at the end, there's a Q&A. If you look down at the bottom somewhere, I can't see, but down at the bottom, there's a Q&A. So just keep in mind some questions that you might have. You can type in the chat session once that scene comes in, and you can type in the chat questions you want to ask me or our amazing area director, Kelvin Washington, when we get to that. And there may be some technical problems here. We don't know. And if there are, we lose sound, something like that, just be patient and we will get right back online. We have 4 commercials for you. They are short. They're 2 to 3 minutes long and from different people in the community. And the first one is 3 Hall of Famers, 2 first ballot Hall of Famers that agreed to do a message for us. So this is our first one. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Pro Football Hall of Famer, left tackle Walter Jones, and I want to tell you about mentoring and why it's important. I receive mentoring from my coaches, teammates, and friends. In life, it's important that we give back and help others when we can. I know that if you choose to give back to others, you'll be happier and find yourself in a better space. Check out mentoringisamust.org for more information.
Hi, my name is Steve Largent, formerly of the Seattle Seahawks, and I can tell you that mentoring definitely changed my life. I remember as a sophomore in high school meeting Scott Manley for the first time. He invited me to go to lunch. You could do that then. And so we went in his little yellow Volkswagen, went out and had lunch, and Scott was just interested in me, asked me a lot of questions about my life, about my family, about sports, and the things that I loved. And Scott really just became a mentor in my life. And he also was our young life leader at our school. So I can tell you in all honesty that that relationship that I had with Scott for the next 3 years, my sophomore, junior, and senior year, changed my life. And I think it will change your life too, to have a mentor. So thanks, and God bless you all.
Hello, I'm Jack Sikma. As a young man, I found myself facing challenges where I had to find a way forward. Fortunately, I had the benefit of knowing people who had faced some of those same challenges. They helped show me the way. I'm forever grateful to the mentors in my life. Please support the MUST program. It provides a valuable tool to young men in our community.
How amazing is that? 3 Hall of Famers. I'm going to give you Must in, it's supposed to be 15 minutes, but it's probably going to be more like 17 minutes, just so you can get a good idea of who we are and what we do. This slide is dark intentionally and blank. About 16 years ago, I had a major meltdown. My life fell apart to the point where I was even thinking about taking my own life. And I moved back home and went to work at the Rotary Boys and Girls Club. Any Rotary people out there? 19th and Spruce. And Rotary was a safe place for me to honestly put my life back together. And I worked there 7 years, so I had a good idea what was going on. And there was one issue that stood out far above all the others by a long shot, and that was lack of positive male role models. If I could ask God for anything or wave a magic wand, that is the one thing that I would do. And so I'm going to introduce you to two kids. His name is Shy. He's about 12 at this age, but he doesn't know it yet, but his mom's going to die of unnatural causes. He's going to be raised by his great aunt, but she is going to die of cancer. His dad's going to continue to not be a part of his life, and his freshman year, he is going to steal a car. This is Tori. He doesn't know it yet, but those closest to him are not going to graduate high school, be heavily involved in the juvenile justice system. His dad's going to continue to not be a part of his life until 2 years ago, which is really cool. They have reconciled. And his freshman year, he's going to break into some homes and steal some things. Tori and Shy are headed towards prison. I'm going to show you a chart here that's going to be kind of unbelievable. The one on the left represents 7 countries: Argentina, Canada, Finland, Germany, India, Japan, and England, representing 1.7 billion people. The chart on the right is going to be the United States, and that represents 329 million people. The chart on the left is going to be all prisoners, all race, all genders, their total prison population. The chart on the right is going to be just African American males. So on the left-hand side, you see that 742,000 prisoners total in all 7 of those countries. But in our country, we incarcerate more African American men than the entire prison population of all 7 of those countries. This is the high school dropout rate for African Americans in Seattle public schools, and this is the dropout rate for their white counterparts. And so you can see there's lots of injustice going on there. Traditionally, Tori and Shy have been called at-risk youth. In an awesome way, that term is starting to leave and be replaced by more positive terms. A study a few years ago labeled them opportunity youth, meaning if one of these guys can turn in a different direction, then you're helping a lot of people, not just them and their family and their kids' but society in general. The study showed that there was about 6.7 million opportunity youth across the country, and because they rub up against the juvenile justice system, welfare, health care, and lost taxes, they end up costing society on average $600,000 over the course of their lifetime. So Tori and Shy together are going to cost society $1.2 million. And we started to think, hey, you could spend a lot of resources trying to help them and still have it be a justified cost. If Microsoft or Amazon or Boeing had a division that was losing money, they would certainly play a lot of resources to make it a positive number and how much more a person's life, right? And when I was at the Boys and Girls Club, I knew that I loved mentoring. I've mentored guys my whole life, but I knew that I was probably not the best mentor. Kids would take about everything I'd say and cut it in half. But guys like Aaron in this picture, who grew up in a really rough environment late in his high school career, he decided he wanted to go to college and changed his direction. When Aaron would say things, the kids would really pay attention, so I knew that he was the kind of guy we're looking for. I knew from research that quality mentoring will help with depression, academics, attendance, but long-term outcome-based mentoring like we wanted to do would also help with substance abuse, sexual activity, social acceptance. I know that research shows that mentoring is a 3-to-1 investment. You give it $1, it gives society back. And we thought, hey, we could probably do better than that. And so we started this organization, as you well know, called MUST, Mentoring Urban Students and Teens. And we honestly believe we are the best mentoring model in the country for vulnerable teens. There is nothing like us out there. And I'm going to walk you through what we do really quickly. First of all, we find the most vulnerable guys before they hit high school, African American guys before they hit high school. We have 9 indicators to make sure we're grabbing the kids who need the most help. And they are put with a mentor for 4 years. We are a 6-year mentoring program, 4 years of high school and 2 years after high school. And then we find, our next group is we find African American guys who are in college, and we pay them really well to mentor the younger guys. So the big idea, obviously, is that the younger guys watch the older and begin to think, hey, he comes from the same place I do. If he can do it, so can I. And then our third group is what we call coaches, and those are guys of any race, older, wiser guys in the community that come alongside our guys in college and help them navigate life and relationships and career and being a good mentor. So 4 things really make us unique. Like I said, there's nothing else in the country like us. Number 1 is it's near peer. Our mentees look at our mentors and they look like them and talk like them, so it accelerates the trust factor a lot quicker. Number 2 is we pay our mentors. There's another model out here that I'll tell you in a little bit about, but we pay our mentors well so they don't have to work a lot of other jobs. And number 3 is we care about our mentors just as much as we care about our youth. A lot of time and resources goes into making them great mentors, to help them finish college, to be great employees when they graduate. And finally, we go and find our youth. We do not rely upon a waiting list. Often, not always, but often the youth that we serve have guardians that are overwhelmed and just don't have the access or the resources to go and find and advocate well for their youth. So we go and find our kids. Here's Tori and Shai. I mentioned a few things that happened to them. I'm going to list a few things. Barriers to high school graduation. And number 1 is no dad at home. And yeah, there we go. No dad at home. So some of you might be thinking, yeah, please don't have my dad at home. He was not a nice guy. And I hear you. But for the most part, if your dad's not at home, lots of bad things tend to, or lack of positive male role model at home, lots of bad things tend to leak out. But we know, here is Shai hanging out with Aaron. We know that he gets to hang out over the next 2 to 4 years, or 4 years in our program, with one of our mentors who values education and is just a solid guy. Here's our staff. Kelvin Washington, our area director, is to my right in the picture. And the rest is our staff, who are literally changing generations with the kids that they serve. Number 2, no one checks their grades. So Seattle Public Schools, this is my son Luke's grades when he was a freshman. I didn't ask him permission to do this, sorry Luke. But he's rocking his grades. We can check our guys' grades, what assignments they're missing, tests they can make up, who's the teacher they need to advocate with. It helps us keep a good pulse on what they do. And we are we're in the process of being approved to sign an MOU with Seattle Public Schools. It's not official yet, but Kelvin Washington, who you'll meet in a little bit on the right-hand side here, has just been so integral in helping us build the relationship there and move that forward, and a lot of kids are going to be helped in that in the long run. No one gets them up in the morning for school. Now, be honest, in high school, if no one wakes you up, how many times woke you up? How many times would you miss first, second, or third period? I would have missed a lot. But we know at least one morning a week, our mentors will get our kids. They'll be on time for school. They'll get a meal, not always healthy. Sometimes it's McDonald's, like in this picture. But we know they're getting a meal at least once a week. Not enough food. So if you are skipping meals, then your math test on Friday honestly doesn't matter a whole lot. And so this is us during the COVID response right now. We are really uniquely situated to serve in this area. We don't have a building. We operate relationally. And so Kelvin instigated this idea of mentor eats, or must dash or must eats. And so our mentors go and take our kids' food and interact them. In this picture, they're reading a book together or looking at inspirational videos, doing exercise, maintaining social distances. But we are uniquely served to serve our kids in this environment. And we brought in Chef Mason. He taught us how to make some chicken, why it's important to have good food in your body, and how do you cook good food. Not enough clothes. So if you have to wear the same clothes over and over, especially in high school, you don't have a washer or dryer, your clothes may begin to smell. It's just one more reason why they don't want to go to school. We have some money set aside to help them with some of that. But quarterly, we do more life skill events. This one is a health and wellness one we did. And this is us last fall, the group, the health and wellness one on. The next one we did, go ahead, is The finance one, who wants to retire a millionaire? It's easier than they think is what we said. And so we taught them the basics, how to avoid bad debt, how to save 15% of every paycheck, how do you buy a house? Those basic things that I was taught growing up, we did. And guys got the idea that they could own a home. And this is a relationship one. We brought in a great panel of ladies and we had a very, very real conversation about relationships, but it was very good. And violence. So our family lives, we live a block off of Rainier Avenue, and so a couple years ago we heard 50 shots within 3 blocks of our house. So 12:30 at night, bang, bang, bang. And that does something. As an adult, it does something to me, but as a kid even more. A child psychologist will tell you feeling safe is super important growing up. And so twice a month, we take them away on fun outings and just let them blow some steam. This is us doing some inner tubing. I Fly is the next one here. And some river rafting. We go to movies, all sorts of things. Just to bond them together, to have some fun, and to release some pressure. They changed schools. One of our guys has changed schools 6 times in the first 2 years. And not because of behavior issues, it's because his family's had to move around. But we are one of the only constants in his life. He still meets with his mentor each week. He still goes on group outings with us. It is a stabilizing influence for him. This is us climbing Rattlesnake Ridge. Is that what it's called? Something like that. It's close to that. This is us, the basketball program, or event we did a little while ago. The justice system. This one is super difficult to talk about. We want to be extra honoring of first responders. We know many great officers, Officer Cookie and Lewis, and we just are so grateful, but I don't feel like I would be doing my job if I didn't at least bring this up, that it's just a lot of injustice. Just like there's good teachers and bad teachers, there's many, many, many more good police officers than bad, but they are out there. One of our staff members who was living in a predominantly white neighborhood, and he was out running his dog. He's married, and nothing suspicious about him. Not that being married makes you less suspicious, you know what I'm saying? But he was running his dog, and the police pulled him over and asked him, "Why are you here? What are you doing here?" As a white male, that will never happen to me. And it's not a one-off. He had a guy that he is mentoring come and stay at his house for the weekend, him and his wife, and with his wife staying with him, and he's an athlete in college, and he took his dog for a run, the same dog for a run, and the police pulled him over and put him in handcuffs. So you can understand, if you don't know how to interact in a healthy way, that could change not just you, but your generations to come really quickly. So we take them away. Oh, I forgot about this slide. African Americans make up 13% of the overall population, but 34% of the prison population. So continued injustice that's happening there that we want to correct. We take them away for a weekend. It's the highlight of the year for many of them. And we talk about this. We do role playing. How do you interact with a police officer that's treating you well, treating you poorly? Just role playing so they know, and it's not going to change their life when it happens. This is us a couple of years ago, and this is us last summer. Marijuana, we again want to be respectful. There's lots of different views on this, much different than I was growing up. It's like me going into and having a drink at a pub right now. But the problem is our youth don't have a lot of access to alcohol, but they have a lot of access to marijuana. And so we just need to have healthy conversations with them around that with a safe individual, which can really help. And lastly, no one in their families. Oh, here's Tori. I forgot about this slide. This is Tori, the guy I introduced you. Imagine me teaching how much they would pay attention, and now Tori is teaching. And he's been through a lot. He's in college in this picture. And so when he teaches, they really pay attention. And the last one, and no one in their family has been to college. Both my parents went to college, so it was just expected that I would go to college. But this is Shy. He ended up graduating high school. And this is him working at Domino's, working on college credits. He did about a year of college and decided college was not for him, which is okay. Research shows that if you get 1 to 3 years of college in your blood, then your quality of life improves. How you view yourself, your relationships, what you're capable of. And he's now in the Year Up program, which will get him a great career on the other side of that. And this is Tori, graduated high school as well. And this is him at Highline College. And I think he will finish college, which is great, which makes me excited is because the chance of his kids and his kids' kids going to college increases a lot. This is Izzy. He graduated last year. This is Todd, first in his family to get his AA. This is Aaron, first in his family to graduate college. This is DJ, first in his family to graduate college. He's at the UW getting a master's in education right now. Go DJ, keep after it. And so this is the results. We've served 31 youth right now over 7.5 period, usually more like 5, almost 8 years now. The first 3 years were a pilot program, so we weren't really growing. When we started, we estimated about 50% of our kids would graduate high school. We reevaluate these numbers every 2 months. Right now, we estimate about 52% would have dropped out. We know our kids really well. Our goal was that a third would still drop out because we knew it was going to be really hard. And right now, only 19% of our kids are going to drop out of high school, we estimate, which is an amazing stat. We conservatively estimated that 10% of our kids would attend college without us, Our goal was that a third would go to college, and right now we estimate that 68% of our kids are going to at least attempt college. We don't know how many are going to make it, but that is obviously really cool. The results, our social ROI right now, remember it was a 3-to-1. Right now we estimate it's a 7.71 right now. It'll probably come down, but it's between 6.5 and 7.5 usually. We've saved society $12.8 million right now, we estimate. Seattle Public Schools graduates 78% of their students, which is, next slide please, yep. Which is right on the national average. And right now we estimate that 81% of our kids are going to graduate high school, or at least get their GED, which we're serving the most vulnerable and still getting them up to standard, which we're not satisfied, we want more, but that is pretty cool. We've had some amazing organizations come alongside us and support us. The Seahawks just gave us one of their Player Foundation grants, which was really awesome. Thank you so much. Our program expenses, for those of you that are interested, right now they're about 60%. As we scale out and get bigger, we estimate that our program expenses will be 87%, and the rest is admin and fundraising. If you care about those things, I know some of you do. So right now we're in South Seattle. That's the area covered in blue. Go ahead. And we'd like to go West Seattle and north, and then as many of you know, lots of families are getting pushed south. So we're up there and we just want to go south to Federal Way, Kent, Tequila. There's so much need down there, and we think our model will go well. And there's the 4 highest groups at risk of dropping out, as you see, are Black, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, and Native American. We feel like the near-peer model may work in those groups as well. We don't want to presume upon them, but we're in conversation to see if it would work, if they want the model, but we think it may expand. It's part of our 10-year plan. This is our 10-year plan. We're in year number 2. COVID's trying to knock us off our 10-year plan, and we need your help to get back on. And that is us. That is the Must Mentoring Program in a nutshell. And now we're going to go to our next commercial.
Hi, my name is Portia Beard, and I work at Garfield High School. I'm the Truancy Intervention Specialist. Working with the Must Mentoring Program in Kelvin, Washington has been a blessing for our students. The Must program works with African American males in regards to their academics, attendance, if they have any attendance issues, mediation if something's going on and they need a little bit of support through that piece. Also, if there's any discipline issues. They also do a great job advocating for our students. Kelvin does an amazing job with bringing the families in to make sure that they are aware with what's going on with their students and everybody's on the same page with it, whether it's admin, vice principals, teachers, or whatever the case may be. They make sure they bring all the support team together. I really appreciate the fact that they're not going to let a student down, that these students can trust the program and the process. Like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And I really do believe that the Must program in Kelvin, Washington are a part of that village.
Hi, my name is Kwajalein Griffin, and I work at Garfield High School. I work security, it's safety and security is what it's called, and we build relationships with students. Since I've been there and come into contact with Kelvin Washington, who is part of the MUST program, it's a mentoring program if you don't know that, it has been phenomenal. When we have kids who are in crisis, those kids that are a part of that program, when Kelvin comes in, he can jump right in, get the situation under control. Kelvin comes into the school at least 2 to 3 times a week. He comes in and checks in not only with myself, he checks in with other staff members like counselors, teachers, our principals and assistant principals, and he takes care of those kids. I'm really glad that Kelvin is a part of this program and that he brought it to our attention. It has been great. Thank you to the MUST program.
Hello everyone. I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy during these challenging times. My name is Jimmy Hung and I'm the Chief Prosecutor for the Juvenile Division of the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. Sadly, I see firsthand how young men of color get pushed into the school to prison pipeline every day. But I also get to see firsthand how life-saving organizations like MUST pull them out and give them renewed hope and direction. I am so honored to support Rick and his amazing team, and I invite all of you to join me. Be well and be safe. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelvin Washington, the Area Director, and this is
Kevin McKee. I'm a mentor for the MUST program.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Kevin. It's great that I have this time to interview you and just want to talk to you through how this MUST treated you and just get your real opinion from a mentor perspective. So we're going to jump right in, okay? So how has MUST helped you emotionally?
That's a good question. The MUST program has helped me in many ways. Emotionally, I was a wreck before I got to the MUST program. Here, this kid from Chicago, not really knowing, what college is supposed to look like or any of that. I didn't see anybody who was in college doing what I'm doing now. So emotionally, I was thinking to myself, can I do it? Mm-hmm. Is this realistic for me? Another question was, how far can I go? So emotionally, I was very uneasy, and I didn't see people on my campus doing what I was doing. It was rough, and a lot of times I didn't believe in myself. And here's this program I heard from a friend. Hey, this is an opportunity to mentor young Black African American boys. Oh, really? This is the community I feel like I was missing here at Seattle, because here I am. My grades weren't well. I didn't really feel supported. So, I went to you guys, and you guys were like, we want you. We want you to be a part of this, something special, building a man from the ground up. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do that. And then at some point, my emotions were taking control of me, and I wasn't even going to do it. Mm-hmm. And here you guys called me, and you said, what's going on? Is everything okay? And I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. You don't know if you can do it. You're a good candidate. We got you. What do you need? And I think that emotionally, that's when what? You guys want me? Yeah. I think that was one of the most beneficial things, and it was well needed. I needed that.
Yeah, good. That's good. So not only emotionally, I understand that MUST tries to financially help mentors to meet their needs beyond the normal employees. So tell me how MUST has personally impacted your life from a financial standpoint.
Oh, man, I'm surprised you guys. Well, I think it starts off with just the MUST program giving me an ample amount of resources in order to succeed financially. Mm-hmm. They pay you really well, and I think that that's beneficial being in college as well. In college, you can work on campus or you can do something you love, and mm-hmm. you guys offering a well pay really draw me in, and this is doing something that not too many men are able to do, mm-hmm. mentoring young African American boys. And another thing is the car.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Talk about that.
Well, the car situation was a very sticky situation. Here I am, 20 years old, really excited to do the MUST program, and I buy a car. I go out, I buy a 2016 Dodge Dart SXT Blue,
but I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it at all, and I was really embarrassed. I feel like it just hit me, my confidence. I called you and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it now. I don't have a car. Well, how can we help? Well, we can give you one. In fact, let me talk to some people. Let's make this happen. I think 20 minutes later, you call me. Hey, we have a car for you. For me? Really? And financially, I mean, I don't have to worry as a student right now. Even during this crisis, you guys are still paying me. You guys are still making sure your mentors and your mentees are well taken care of, and that's a blessing.
That's a truly blessing. So, we talk about emotional things, we talk about financial things. How, with MUST being a predominantly Black organization, how has MUST helped you reconnect yourself from Chicago to a Seattle Black-based community?
Well, I just think about being in Chicago. It was pretty rough growing up on the South Side. I think that it was rough, going throughout the motions of trying to find out how can I succeed without people telling me you can do it. And coming to Seattle, it was a culture shock for me. Here I am not seeing people who looks like me, and I'm supposed to thrive. I'm supposed to do so well, and I didn't find that to be the key. I didn't see that. So being a part of the MUST program, when you guys said, hey, we want you, and being around the boys, I slowly started becoming myself. It was almost like you guys were feeding my soul. Here's our boys who look up to you. These are boys and you guys giving me a coach. It was beautiful, and I really appreciate that.
So what I'm hearing is there's a sense of value that you found within this short year. So we're going to end. This is going to be the last question. I really thank you for your time. Now, how do you value yourself, and how do you think the way you value yourself affects generations to come?
That's a really good question. I think that in Chicago, I didn't value myself too much. Here's this kid who comes from a poor family, didn't really have too many opportunities. It was kind of like blow after blow after blow. And coming to Seattle, it was a confidence booster, but and again, you didn't see people who looked like me. And here I am supposed to thrive. And being that when you guys jumped in through the job process, hey, we want to give you a car. We want to give you this amount of pay. You guys want to give me this? Here I am, my value, I feel like it was so low. It was scraping the bottom of the sea. And for you guys to offer me this kid that you guys just found out wants the job, you guys offering me these things, this kid from Chicago who had to get a job at 16, who didn't have parent support, didn't have the best grades. It was so hard, and you guys offered me pretty much the best job at any college student can get. And I think that as a culture, it's a beautiful thing to be around people who care and love you, and that's what the MUST program has given me. And a sense of value, I feel as if you guys are equipping me with a sense of value that I'm able to give and develop and give to a kid like Imari or David. You have a kid like Imari, we step into him, and he is, 2.5 GPA. Here's this kid, he's bright, he's determined, he has a 2.5. Me, you guys equipping me with a ton of value, and me feeling like I can do this job and I have an ample amount of resources to do it, I'm able to give that to him.
Yes.
And I see through his actions, through his grades in high school, he gets a 4.0. He gets a 4.0. I'm just giving my value to him. We're giving him resources that he can be able to literally for generations on end, he can give that value to his children, to his friends. It's his to give. And I see that he's taking that value, and he's going to do wonderful things.
Thank you for your time. Thank you all. And right now, actually, you have a chance to meet Imari and his family. So tune in now.
My name is Imari. I'm a freshman at Sale Urban Academy. MUST has helped me by paying for my tuition. Without that, I had a 2.3 GPA around a year ago. And now that since they've helped me and come into my life, I have a 4.0 GPA. They also partnered me with a mentor that comes and talks to me on the phone during this quarantine, and they came once a week and gave me lunch. before quarantine, but they still give me lunch now. But yeah.
Marie and I were in kind of a gray area when we met the MUST program. I wasn't sure whether he was going to have a successful school life. It was a lot of turmoil and a lot of pain that he was dealing with. Through this program, we were able to find our way and navigate our way through to some resources that helped him calm down and get a hold on his life and put his priorities in order. It's a very crucial time in a young man's life when they're trying to discover who they are and try to get a grip of what their future should be. They have helped him do that. And when I say, I can't even put into words and I can't even stress how important and significant this was and how far we were on the other side of darkness. I really believe that he was not going to make it through school or even through the relationships that he had with his family. That's the kind of madness we were dealing with. Through this program, we were able to get to the schools that he needed to get to, improve his self-esteem to the place where he wants to go to school now and he wants to plan his future, and he's looking forward to all the things that young men look forward to at that age. I'm very grateful for all that they've done for us. They've put into place things that we needed throughout the years at crucial times. It seems like it just came right at the right time. Little grocery cards and little things that they did for him. It's been wonderful, and I appreciate them so much I can't even put it into words. He would not be alive probably today if it hadn't been for them, and I'm thanking them very, very much for it.
Welcome back. We are now to the contest portion of what we do. After this, we may lose some of our younger viewers. And so before we go, I just want to say a big thank you to Kelvin Washington. Kelvin, who's in the back there, I just really appreciate you, Kelvin. Our organization is better because of you. I'm a better businessman because of Kelvin, and I am a better man because of Kelvin. And I just really appreciate you, brother. Thank you very, very much. So we're going to get to the contest now. Originally, we were going to do our physical fundraiser. We had to switch to a virtual fundraiser, and we had about $5,000, $6,000 to spend on our fundraiser. So that was for rentals and food and all that. And since we didn't have that, one of our board members had the good idea to do a contest. And we knew that there was lots of young adults, high school students, college students at home, that fear of the virus was growing. And so we came up with this idea to do a contest, a video contest, and we asked them to answer this question: what worries you right now, and how do you overcome that fear? So they were going to go teams of between 1 and 3 people. We're going to do that. First place prize is $5,000 to split among either one person or 3 people, depending on how big your team is. So it's a pretty big deal. And we also thought, hey, I think we can do judging a little different. We have a core value that there is more than enough money out there to solve the world's problems, even with the virus. And we thought, hey, how do we operate if that's true? If that was true, we would share cool organizations with you rather than hoard you to ourselves. And so we put the word out to 8 organizations saying, hey, we need an adult in your organization and a young adult in your organization to vote on these things. And 4 of the 8 came back with an adult and a youth vote. And so we want to tell you really quickly about these 4 awesome organizations. They occupy much of the same space that we do. We see them on a fairly regular basis. So we're just going to go through them real quick. Number 1 is Friends of the Children. They're where we got the idea to pay our mentors. They find youth when they're in kindergarten and give them a paid professional mentor all the way through high school. So we are the backup plan. If they don't get them at kindergarten, we get them in high school if they don't get them. And their website is, I have some notes here, friendsseattle.org. This is going to be recorded so you can rewind and get these URLs later if you'd like. Number 2 is DADS. And DADS is Friends of the Children has been around for over 20 years. Their founder, Duncan Campbell, is on our advisory board. And Dads is another organization. They find guys usually coming out of prison who want to reunite with their kids. And so they give them a roadmap how to do that, how to get a stable job and how a stable place to live, and just help them go through all the check boxes to get them reunited with their kids. How cool is that? And Marvin Charles, I appreciate your friendship, your genuine friendship with me. It means a lot to me. And so their website is aboutdads.org. You can check them out. They're doing great work. Let me switch my note page here. Number 3 on the list is Goodfoot. They are in Seattle Public Schools. They do an awesome work, and they have youth violence prevention through the arts. They are eliminating domestic violence in the home. They go into the schools, they teach the kids how to break the generational cycles that pattern through the arts, and it is powerful, powerful stuff. So you can check them out at thegoodfootarts.org, thegoodfootarts.org. And our last one is Mike Davis. He's a local rapper. He goes under the label Red Culture. And he has been in the area for a little while, and his mission is to cultivate creative spaces for youth to encounter community, opportunity, and the presence of God. And so he voted, and one of his youth voted in his program. And so 8 people voted on these. I did not have a say. Kelvin, our staff, did not have a say. I wish I did. But it comes from them. So we want to announce our winners. There's 3 categories: best overall, which is $5,000. And then we had the best idea to fight fear, which is $500, and the most entertaining. And I'm going to pick this up right here so I can read these accurately. The first one is the most entertaining, and this one won by a landslide. This is the winner of most entertaining is Eli Tan. He goes to Bush High School, and we entitled it "Baseball is Canceled." It's very entertaining. He used an inspirational video from another one, and it's a good one to watch. The next one is the best idea to fight fear. Which one had the best idea that could really help a lot of people? And this one won by a healthy margin as well. And this goes to Aaron Duckworth, Derek Banks, and Derek Charles. And they were both of these first 2, and you could tell they spent a lot of time editing, putting it together with thought. And so that team will spit $500. And now, I wish I had a sound effect that could do a drum roll. The best overall video, we didn't set it up so we could view that for you. But the best overall video was entitled Inspiration. And that's for Imani, Kari, and Stefan. And this is ultra cool for me is because Kari and Stefan were club kids when they were young, when I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So it feels like it comes full circle. I did not vote them to first place, but it brings me extra joy to see them. Kari is headed off to college, and I'm sure she can use that. So they will split the $5,000 3 ways for us. So that's awesome. We will be in touch with each of you, and to make sure you get your winnings. So congratulations. Our next section is a question and answer period for Kelvin and I. So we're going to bring Kelvin in here. And so if you guys could type some questions into the questions that are in there. And our lovely assistant, Rebecca, my wife, will help us know what's going on. Do we have some questions going on? What is the hardest part? So what's the hardest part about your job? Kelvin, I've been talking for a while. Do you want to take over on this one?
Yeah, sure. So the hardest part of my job is actually, you would think it would be the easiest part, but it's actually finding mentors. It's really, really, really challenging to find mentors that are dedicated. It's really hard to get in some of the colleges. It's really, really hard to find young men that actually want to put down marijuana. And so we get a lot of great candidates, but when we start telling them, hey, one of our requirements is we drug test, it's kind of a turnoff. And so it's really, really hard, and it really, really it hurts me because there's so many good black young men out here, but they certain things like we talked about earlier, Rick, they don't want to put down the marijuana, and then some of the colleges don't know it, so they're not able to really do research for it. So it's really, really difficult because they are the core of our organization. I mean, we talk about it every week. Mentors matter, and it's really, 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 really difficult. So if you know, African American guys that are in college that want to, be around great good guys that want to commit for 2 years minimum, spread the word, But that's really, really tough for me to find those young men.
Yeah, we offer $300. If you find somebody and we hire them, we will pay you a finder's fee of $300. It's that valuable to us. We say that mentors are not silver or gold, they are platinum. They are so, so very valuable. I could answer that many ways. I love my job. I love what I do. But one of the hardest parts is the kids that don't make it. We don't bat 1,000. There's kids that we don't make it, and I lie awake at night and think, what could we have done differently? And I know there's some kids that we did not serve well, that we made mistakes on, and that we want to learn from our mistakes and never repeat them again. But those are the things that keep me up, that I don't like. Overall, though, love what we do. We're doing great work. So yeah. Another question for Kelvin. Why do you choose to work at Must?
Oh, man. There's a lot of
Take your time.
Great reasons. But I truly believe that there's power in giving to the misfits, right? Like there's been words about opportunity youth. There's been all these different words, but society has made this group of young men misfits. They make it really, really hard for them. And to be able to sow into kids' lives that look like me is life changing. I mean, it's this analogy where how can a kid see over the mountain if they never see mountains? And I get the opportunity to help kids see mountains. I get, we get the opportunity to go into these houses and show compassion and show love, and it gets to be the point where you feel like, am I even worth it having this young man? And so why Must? Because Must gives me the opportunity to work directly with the CEO. I mean, I'm learning from a guy who was in corporate for years, who now is sewing into me as if I'm corporate. So not only am I working with a CEO, I'm able to have a voice that's coming from an actual black young man to other black men. And I think they see the power in seeing a young man that has quote unquote status, and it makes me more marketable. It makes me believe, like, if he can do it, why can't I do it? If he's a first generation college student who graduated, who went to Howard, who got his master's, why can't I do it? So it gives me a different outlook on these kids' life, and I'm able to be as transparent as I can. As in other organizations, you have different codes that doesn't allow you to really keep it real. And so I'm able to keep it real. I'm able to touch the families. I'm able to, get direct service from a CEO. And so it's, why not Must, right? Like, why not, And so it's a great organization, and, I'm blessed. I'm thankful for it, for sure.
Yeah, if you don't know it, Kelvin took a pay cut to come work for us, and he gets offers, multiple offers to go do other things, make more money, and he continues to want to hang with us. So as long as we got him, we are super thankful for every day we get with Kelvin. Let's do at least one more. How do you serve during COVID? Yeah, great question. Like I said before, we are uniquely positioned to do this. Because we don't have an office building we go to, we're not reliant upon being in the schools. We are operating outside the schools. We're in touch with the youth and the family, and so we can be in touch with the kids' needs. Do they have laptops? Kelvin has been a champ getting our kids laptops. There were different rungs of who got, rungs is maybe a wrong word, but who got laptops, but Kelvin fought hard to get our kids laptops to make sure, and our guys check their grades. Are you going to class? Are you? So I think we're uniquely positioned to do that. You give some examples of what you do is pretty great. What he does is amazing.
It's really cool. So like we talked about the Must Eats, so we're able to, we have DoorDash is really big, but we're able to do Must Dash or Must Eats, where we pick up a meal, we drop it off. Not only are we dropping off food, we're dropping off books. Like we're dropping off books, and for me it's been really cool because now I'm on a Zoom call with teachers. Like they wasn't giving me true access before, but now I'm on a Zoom call with teachers. You know, I'm knowing the grades before the kids know the grades. You know, I'm advocating for them. You know, we're going to food banks. The new thing is we're playing Uno. So like it's like 4 of us together playing Uno. You know, I still have not won yet, but we're serving them in an emotional way. We're letting them know we're not leaving them. And another thing we're doing, we don't talk about a lot. We're still serving our mentors. So our mentors still have access to coaches. Our mentors still have access to myself and Rick. They're still getting paid, and I think that's really unique because as Kevin said earlier, when the mentors feel value, they put more value into their boys, and so we're doing it that way. So I told Rick, you know, my job has increased because, you know, there's multiple food banks that you're trying to get food to. So we're doing our best, and I think it's really, really, really working. It's really working.
That's good. I think we have one more good one. What topics of development do you cover? We have some awesome curriculum that's been developed over years, not by me as the white guy, but by mentors and Kelvin and everyone, and it grows and changes. It's organic every year. So 2 of the ones, we do several things, but one is 8 things that make a man. And so that's the hole we're trying to fill. We need to teach them what it means to be a man, not just our youth, but our mentors as well. And so they get, up until now, they've gotten 2 a year. And we're going to scale that down a little bit, and so it's a little more concentrated. But we teach them. So the first 2 is a man owns his mistakes. You make a mistake, you raise your hand high, you say, I did that. And number 2 is a man is reliable. You can depend on him on his word. He'll be where he says he's be. He'll do what he says to do. And another one, I don't want to hog them.
No, you go ahead.
Another one is what we call the Sinister 7, the 7 most common things that we've observed over the 8 years that we've done this, and my 7 years at the Boys and Girls Club, the 7 most common things that tend to trip kids up. They're headed this way, and then 1 or more of these tend to go down. So one would be your friends. We say, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Your friends matter. You're the average of your 3 best friends. And we have a whole bunch of other ones that we look at. So those are obviously the 2 that come to mind. Yeah. Anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, we also, we're really big on, even Rick's given me kind of privilege to have bringing reality pedagogy. And so it's where you take a kid's reality and you don't make it negative of what they have. So people say I'm a product of my environment, it's always negative, and we're trying to teach them, actually we're growing men from the hardest soil, which means there is some soil here and we want to help you build that up. And so we're able to take their reality, show them that there's pros in their reality, and hopefully grow it to be that rose that America doesn't think exists, but that we know exists. So it's a very social empathy mindset that we're helping them understand their value, not only in their families, but how they can affect the world.
You can see why I like him so much. He's an amazing guy. We'll close our Q&A question there. If you get some time to spend with him, do it. He's an amazing guy. And now we'll go to our final commercial.
The MUST program has helped me be more social as a person and sort of come out of my shell a little bit more, because before I used to be antisocial, and now I know how to rely on others more.
My name is Bakari Shabazz. MUST has helped me keep my grades up in school. They help talk to my teachers for me to make sure I'm staying on track, make sure I'm keeping up like what they're doing to help me. They help me on the weekends when I ain't got nothing to do, help me keep me out of trouble with my friends. Yeah.
So MUST has impacted me by letting me connect with new people, letting me have new friends, and doing things that I probably wouldn't have done on my own time if I had the option. And it's just a really fun activity to do.
MUST has helped me in a lot of ways. Like, it took me on a lot of trips. That was very fun to get away and explore. And they taught me how to take school serious so you could graduate, and they taught me a lot of life lessons that I use today.
MUST has helped me with my schoolwork and stuff, and just letting you know that there's somebody there for you when things are hard and stuff.
Since I joined MUST, it helped me with schoolwork. That leads for me to young. I become more focused in class. If you need help on schoolwork, that'll be with that too.
Must impact me very well because they when I was getting in trouble, they saved me, got me out of trouble, and I learned a lot, especially when we went to Warm Beach Camp. It brought us closer together, and it took places I've never been to, and yeah.
Thanks a lot. We are now to the ask portion of what we are doing. Usually at fundraisers, they bring somebody in who is influential or popular. I am neither of those, but we felt it appropriate for me to make the ask this year for two reasons. Social distancing, we want to involve as few people as possible in this room. We've tried to be as careful as we can. But number two is we understand that it's a delicate ask this year. It is really hard to find an industry that has not been negatively touched by the virus, so we understand that. But we also don't want to say, excuse me for asking, because we are serving the most vulnerable. Those that are touched most by the COVID virus right now are the youth that we serve, some of the youth that we serve. So we are not ashamed to ask for this because we know we're doing great work. We are, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a $100,000 hole in our budget because of the virus. There was a total of $100,000 from two different grants that we were expecting. Both were paused. One has probably been canceled for sure. We don't know what's going to happen with the other one. So we have to flex. Like many industries, we have to figure out how are we going to handle this? How are we going to do this? And so to some of us, that's a ton of money. And to others that may be watching, that's one check that you can write. But to put it in perspective, we really value three things when it comes to donations. Number one is joy, that it would give you joy to donate to what we are doing, because you are well informed, you understand we're working hard for the kids that we serve, and it brings you joy. You really can't care what you care about. Our friends are they battle domestic violence. There's digging wells in different countries. There's sex trafficking. There's so many great causes that people are advancing. And you're here hopefully because you care about what we are doing. And we want you to give, number one, with joy. Number two is communication. It's up to us to communicate clearly and well with you on a regular basis what we're doing so you can have more joy. We put a lot of effort into our newsletters so that you can be well informed. And number three is transparency. We want to tell you the good stuff that's going on, the bad stuff that's going on, and just be aware of what is happening. And so we would reach out to you. It feels like a big problem, but if you do the numbers, if just 10% of Seattle gave $5 a month, we could not level, but we could do a great job of bringing equity in the school system, in the juvenile justice system, in the prison system. So it's not a big one. What the lifeblood of what we do, of organizations like ours, is regular, reoccurring donors. Whatever that is for you, if it's monthly, quarterly, annually, that is the lifeblood of what we do. And so we would ask that you thoughtfully consider what would you do if that's $5 a month or $5,000 a month would bring you joy to help us so we can keep our mentors employed, and we want to advance a new cohort next year is what we're shooting for to stay on our 10-year plan. So we ask for your help. We have three action items in the description below. Number one is donate. Right after we are done, if you would if you go online, you can donate there through your credit card or the bank. The credit card will take a percentage of that, or you can donate through your own bank and do checks to us. Those are great ways where they don't take a fee. Whatever works best for you. Number one is follow us. You can go to our newsletter. You can see the link there in the description. Just jump on our newsletter if you're new to us to get to know us a little bit. Facebook, Instagram to follow us. And then finally is to tell your friends about us and what we are doing. We are doing a great work, and we definitely need your help to do that. So we thank you very much for joining us on our first ever fundraiser, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.